The speakers are shaking, the lights are flashing, and somewhere in the darkness, someone is about to lose complete control of the aux cord. Welcome back to Underground Nation, the home of artists, rebels, creators, and the beautifully unhinged souls making noise underneath the surface. And tonight, we're stepping into a world where playlists are considered weak, predictable, and honestly, a little boring. Because our guest doesn't operate off scripts, doesn't hide behind pre-made sets, and definitely doesn't believe in safe transitions. This DJ walks into a room armed with instinct, chaos, and an unhealthy addiction to keeping crowds on their toes. 1 second you're hearing something nostalgic, the next second your drink is in the air, your friends are screaming, and somehow you're dancing to a song you swore you hated 5 minutes ago. That kind of unpredictable energy, that belongs to only one person tonight. DJ Juris, a master of reading crowds, bending genres, and creating moments people didn't see coming. And guiding tonight's descent into beautiful musical chaos. She's fiery. She's fearless. She asks the questions others are too afraid to ask. The woman who can light a match with just her attitude. Your flaming redhead host, Feral Minx. Get ready for stories, controversy, music madness, and the energy only Underground Nation can deliver. This is the Underground Nation podcast. And now, let's enter the mix.
Welcome back to the Underground Nation, where the speakers don't whisper. They bleed truth. I'm your host, your flame, your favorite bad decision, Feral Minx. Tonight, we're stepping into the booth where a DJ who doesn't believe in playlists, no pre-played plans, no sets, no safety nets, just instinct, just chaos, just energy. They don't follow the crowd. They read it. They control it. They become it. This is the art of the unpredictable, the science of making strangers move like one body. Underground Nation, get ready to feel something real. Let's welcome DJ Juris.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
You describe yourself as a freestyle DJ. No playlists, just pure energy. When did you realize you could trust your instincts more than preparation?
I mean, there is still prep work, but I think that if you go in with too much of a plan, I think you limit the flexibility. And so I think just experience and really getting in the mindset of the people who are out on the dance floor, I think it really helps to have some experience being out there yourself so you could really relate to the people. But it's just, over time I've found that, you just get to build a connection with everybody that's in the venue and you can relate to them a lot more and kind of create a set that is more conducive to them enjoying their night and having a fun time.
Absolutely. I feel that. So what's going through your mind in those first 60 seconds when you step behind the decks and read a room?
I usually start off with, I try to adjust the energy throughout the night so it's not just consistently one thing. And so early on, it's tending to kind of warm up a little bit to get people in the proper mindset. A lot of times, especially in more college bars and stuff, people are, eating food or they're just kind of hanging out and talking. And so you kind of have to build up the energy in the room, which can be a bit of a challenge. Other places, where people are going there just to listen to music and to dance, it's a little bit different. You start off with a bit more energy. But yeah, I just try to slowly build up the energy and then throughout the night have things fluctuate so people aren't getting too tired of doing really high energy dancing, so they can have a little bit of a break maybe to go to the bar and get another drink.
Right. So it's really an organic feel. It's genuinely, going with the flow. So I could see kind of where having a playlist or set already done could kind of hinder that without having, a plan B, C, and D to alternate from.
Yeah, it is helpful to have, to really know your playlist and to have it even separated by this type of music, this style of music. A lot of times I'm going in, even especially in a few private events I've done, you're kind of going in a lot of times without too much of understanding of what people like. And a path that I tend to follow is to play music for the girls, because they tend to kind of control the energy in the room a lot, and the guys will always follow them. And so sometimes when it's more dominated by the guys in the room, they like a little bit different music, and so I will have to make adjustments throughout the night.
Right. So has there been a time where you were like, all right, lots of ladies, let's get this going, and it just completely backfired and slapped you in the face?
Oh, yeah. A few weeks ago, I did a smaller private event, and I was, originally, I was told it was, going to be a pretty big party. But yeah, it was primarily just a bunch of frat guys, and I was playing a lot of radio music, a lot of, top 40 stuff, and they wanted very much like tech housey stuff. And so I adjusted, of course, but yeah, in the beginning, it was definitely not what they were looking for.
So you recovered from that pretty good. I mean, obviously you read that, you went in there thinking, okay, we're just going to do top 40s, and they're like, no, brah, we want more hardcore, man.
Yeah.
Give us the wubs. So having that available, to do that is pretty important.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Being able to adjust is huge. I always like to have, probably 2 or 3 times at least the number of tracks in my playlist that I can pull from that I actually expect to play throughout the night. And yeah, a wide variety. Honestly, I usually have a lot more than that just in my record box that I can pull from. But it's really important, just because you honestly never know exactly what is going to do well on the night. And people, even if you play at the same place every weekend, there's going to be a different crowd that's going to be there sometimes, and you're going to want to be able to adjust, because your job is to set the vibe in the room and make people happy and make the bar money. So you want to be able to do that.
Yeah, happy bar, happy wallet.
Yeah.
But honestly, no, I can totally feel that, because I guess it would be, along the same concept, as if you go into a country bar thinking you're going to play country, only to walk in there and find it's dominated by a bunch of bikers. Yeah. You got to be prepared.
I'm not quite sure what I would do if I walked into that, to be honest, but I'm sure I would figure it out. Maybe some old rock.
Adaptability.
Yeah.
Adaptability, improv. Yeah, man. It's testing skills.
Yes.
Every day, creative spirits pour their hearts into their craft, only to feel ignored. No support, no network, no real community. That's why the Boogieverse was created. A place where musicians, podcasters, artists, streamers, entrepreneurs, and creators connect, collaborate, and rise together. Stop chasing success alone. Join the Boogieverse Discord today, where creative spirits build each other up to greatness.
So speaking of skills, do you see DJing more as a skill or a form of emotional intelligence?
But there's your basic skills that every DJ has to know, like beat matching, mixing in key. But then reading the room and track selection is probably the most important thing. I've seen DJs do really well that are just not good at mixing, and but they're playing the right stuff for the room. And so being able to connect with people is really important. It's also just such a social industry. So being able to connect with people that are in the room, bar managers, promoters, all that is really important.
Yeah. Has there been one specific time where those people, specifically the bartenders, the shop owners, all of that, the venues themselves, have they played a big part in the atmosphere and the energy of the room itself?
They tend to, occasionally there'll be a theme that they want me to follow, but generally they let me kind of just do what I want, which is, reading the room. And so, usually they leave it up to me, but sometimes they do put me in a certain direction. But I've been lucky enough to build trust with the places that I play at regularly. So they kind of let me do freeform and adjust my sets based on the vibe of the night.
Right. Well, you kind of piqued my interest there. You know, I got questions here. You said themes. What is the craziest theme that you've been put up to?
I mean, nothing too crazy. I recently did a 70s, 80s disco it's like it was a quicker set. It was actually the first 2 hours of the night. I think I played 6 hours that night. It was the 70s, 80s disco. And then the last 4 hours was normal college bar music. That was actually a lot of fun. I had a really good time building the playlist for that. There's a lot of good stuff.
I could imagine that's kind of, a drastic, spectrum shift there. So you've blended, you just went from 70s, 80s disco to more modern. Is that shift and that flow pattern something that's common with you? Do you commonly mix, old and new and different genres?
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to. If you're open format, you have to be comfortable going from, rap to pop to even, throwback stuff. So it's an important skill. Again, I think sometimes it's hard to go from rap to pop to country, but I think it's most important just to play the right stuff for the moment rather than having perfectly, sound mixes. So I tend to focus more on that, and that tends to work well at the places that I play at.
So, basically, having a general idea of all the different genres of, knowing it, just, being a general practitioner, so to say, instead of a specialist in one designated field, that really gives you more of a variety and something that's a little bit unique from others who specialize in just, hardcore, hardstyle, or just, or rhythm, or, just house, that being able to blend is unique.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really helpful skill because, like I said, my number one focus is just trying to create an environment that people are going to have fun in. And that's going to change a lot depending on the night. And so I always like to take requests when I can. And so having a very extensive playlist is important for that.
Right. So you pride yourself on blending songs people wouldn't expect. What's the wildest transition you've ever pulled off that actually worked?
I don't know if I'm proud of this one, but the whole 6-7 meme was a thing last year. And I actually, I'll be honest, I pre-produced it just because I found it sounded a little bit better than doing it live. But I did a little wordplay between that 21 Savage song and then I can't even remember the other track, but basically I looped the 6-7 because it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I added some effects just to kind of make the build up a little bit stronger and then cut to the other track. But it did well.
Unfortunately, just throw one out to the kids, man. You gotta have it. Well, I'm glad that it worked. Did that kind of, spark you or encourage you to kind of play around with other things since then?
Yeah. I mean, again, unfortunately, I guess the TikTok environment is very powerful. And so it's good to find stuff on there and kind of maybe do a little playing with some of the memes or the trending stuff in the moment. So I've kind of tried to always keep that in mind. Trending.
Viral sensations and trending, the whole social currency in a whole plays such a huge part in the entertainment and music industry. And I think people often undervalue that. What is that what you mainly rely on? You said you use TikTok a lot. Are there any other platforms or resources that you try to push yourself out on more?
I mean, SoundCloud's a really great resource. I listen to a ton of music there. I kind of have, in terms of finding music that I like to play, I have a bunch of different producers that I tend to pull from. Instagram's helpful as well but I find that a lot of times it just reflects TikTok. But yeah, TikTok
Threads has been a great resource for me personally.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to toss out, I don't know if you've looked into it or not, I've heard of it, but Audio Mac.
Okay.
Audio Mac is basically the new SoundCloud, where SoundCloud was like the shit, when it first came out, for the first couple of years. And it's still the shit, but it's taking more of a backseat role. Audio Mac is blowing up.
Okay. I have not been on there yet.
Yeah. I flip rocks. I go spelunking. We like cave diving. That's part of the job.
There's always the new thing that's coming coming out, so it's good to try.
Yes, absolutely. Trends, viral, staying on top of everything, being, yes. But, you have to. If you don't, then you get behind.
I mean, I don't think I know one person that's, in the music industry, whether it's producing or DJing, that really loves to do the social media stuff, but you kind of have to.
I feel you so hard on that. You're not lying. You really aren't. As many artists and individuals in general that is in this field, a lot of y'all don't like to be on camera.
Yeah. It's interesting because especially when you're DJing, you're up there, you're kind of, sometimes you're not the focus, but a lot of times you are. But then, I don't know. I think it's a different world being on social media. It's a completely different skill set.
It truly is. It genuinely is. But, it's a business skill set too. You have to learn how to control that and use it to your advantage. Because if you have millions of people looking for you, but they can't find you. Yeah. So that's, that's the thing. So getting spun off here, chasing squirrels down social media rabbit holes. So what separates a DJ who plays music from a DJ who controls a room?
I think figuring out how to connect with the people that are on the dance floor is really important. I think that comes from experience of DJing, but also just being on the dance floor yourself. A lot of the people that I know that are really successful at it, they will go to the bar on the night off and, they'll dance and they'll have fun and they'll be social. And it's just really helpful because you know what does well and what you like, and, you can connect to them so much easier.
Kind of touching base back here on that squirrel, not liking to social and people, but it actually really being a critical part of your performance and what you do.
Yeah. It's, like I said before, it's such a social industry. So being someone that people want to hang out with and go out with and talk to is such an important skill with just getting jobs. And bar managers and promoters, they want to trust you. And if you don't have any relationship with them, they're kind of just taking a random shot on you, which they don't like doing. So it's always
building a good rapport goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Relationships, networking, connecting, those things are extremely valuable and underappreciated, overlooked, in my opinion. By a lot of people. They don't really truly understand, how hard. Yeah, you can't just walk into a bar and say, all right, here go me, let's press a button.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody gonna pay attention.
No.
Yeah.
Some artists wait to be discovered. Others step into the shadows and take their shot. Welcome to Mic Check Thursday, hosted by the host with the ghost, Bounceball Boogie. Every week, the boogeyman opens the gates, searching for the realest voices in the underground. No industry politics, no fake hype, just raw talent and honest feedback. Think you've got a hot track? For just 99 coins, submit your song and get one guaranteed play live. Get reviewed by Bounceball Boogie and the full panel of creatures from the Boogieverse. And if your sound hits different, you might earn something most artists never get: a personal invitation to a spotlight interview on the official Underground Nation podcast. This isn't a contest. This is a gateway to exposure, to community, to your next level. Join us live for Mic Check Thursday. Bring your track, bring your courage, and step into the Boogieverse. The Underground is watching. Are you ready to be heard?
So in today's world where a lot of DJs rely on pre-made sets, do you think freestyle DJs are becoming rare or just overlooked?
I think most of the DJs that I know tend to, it depends on what you're doing, I think. The short sprinting type sets, hour to 2 hours, they tend to be a little bit more pre-planned because you just don't have room to mess around. You want to be really specific about what you're playing. But if you're doing a 4 or 5 hour set or even longer, it's just better to kind of go with the flow and see where things lead you. And the shorter sets, I think they're more pre-planned, but I feel like it's pretty common still to see a lot of freestyling when you get into especially the bar sets, the longer sets.
The longer sets, that's kind of where it's, more being adaptable is more beneficial. Like you have a set agenda. Okay, I have 2 hours. I can bam, 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 bam. This is done. Give a little bit of wiggle room here. But, 5-6 hours, you really have to be able to read the room and become prepared to change.
Yeah. It's also just impractical to, if you're doing that long of a set, to really plan it that much where you have, I'm playing this, then this, then this. Whereas in a 2-hour set, it's a lot easier because you're playing just way less music. So if you're doing...
I know some neuro spicy individuals who would love to sit down and plot out a 6-hour long playlist.
I can't do that. I mean, I'll have a general idea of where I'm going to go, but that's always open to changing throughout the night. And, I've also just found more success with allowing myself to change as the night goes on.
Right. Staying fluid.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if someone watched you live for the first time, what would you want them to feel more than anything?
I like music that you connect to emotionally. Not everything that I'm going to play is going to do that, but I like those moments where you just really feel something, whether it's through the lyrics or the actual production of the track. I like the euphoria feeling like that you get with a lot of progressive house songs, or just the really just pure excitement and like adrenaline that you get with like a big room techno. So I mean, it's going to change throughout the night, but I really like the emotional stuff that I think it's a way to connect to people and make the experience a lot more memorable.
Right. Do you specifically, that's just a personal question here, just offhand here. Do you have a personal preference, as far as genres? Do you go with your specific EDM when you're going to produce it? Do you have a favorite, or are you open?
Yeah, I mean, I try to learn as much as I can. So I do a lot of different genres, but I find tech house it's one of those things where I find that I'm always kind of grooving a little bit, like shifting back and forth and tapping my foot in my chair when I'm producing it. I just got into trying to do a few things with big room techno, and I like progressive house a lot as well. And I also like the old school piano sound from old school piano house.
Nice. Yeah.
So I find it's just...
I like classical dubstep. I love genre blending. Okay. Yeah. We love it. Yeah. I love hardstyle. I love rhythm. I love trance. There's all of it, but they're all specific. They all bring something different, and house techno is what it's for. It is the move and groove and dance and shake your booty.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Happy vibes, straight, that's great. Speaking of all that, let's take it down, a little bit here. I know that we were just talking about, being prepared, and, there is a little bit of preparation to, your sets, specifically the shorter ones. Yeah. But, freestyling DJ sounds dope, but some people might say it's an excuse for not being fully prepared. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of prep work to be done. You're just allowing yourself freedom to change as the night goes on. And you still have an idea of what you're going to do. Like I'll section off my playlist based on the time of the night. And, that'll change depending on the specific set, the actual playlist composition. But yeah, I find that if you're so structured, you can't really adapt. It's hard to go in with a very strict game plan and then change when the night goes on, because you're like, well, I was going to play this next, so I'm not going to change that. And so I think it can actually hinder you in a lot of the time.
Right. Well, going off of that, if someone booked you for a major event and they had a set theme and they had this XYZ that they wanted you to follow by, would you still refuse to pre-play in anything like that and go by that, even if the stakes were high, or would you still leave that room for variability?
For whoever's hiring me, if they want me to play a certain song, or if they want me to play 20 specific songs, I'll always do it. I'm trying to cater for the people that are there. I think that's I think you tend to get into DJing because you love the music and you tend to like a certain style of music, but it's really important, I think, to realize that you're there to provide a service to people and you're there to make their night really good. And so I'm always going to be adaptable and try to make the experience of whoever I'm playing for as good as possible. And, you know, they know what they like more than you. So it's actually really helpful when they provide specific themes or songs that they like.
Right. All right. A little bit of perspective. So be honest here. Do you think relying on vibes alone could actually be holding you back from leveling up as a brand?
In terms of getting more DJ gigs or?
Yes, getting more gigs, putting yourself out there, you know, any of it, you're yourself as your brand. Mm-hmm. Do you think just relying on the vibes and the emotions and feeling it out could possibly be holding you back or leveling up from bigger opportunities? Whereas if it was a little bit more structured.
Yeah. I mean, if you're someone that's trying to, like you like tech house and you think that's what you want to do, then it's going to be really helpful to just focus on that, build a really, really, really good collection of tech house songs, learn how to read the room based on tech house. I think that's helpful. But if you're trying to, if you do this type of DJing that I do, then I think it would hold you back to be so structured. And also just the hours that you play, because it's so long. And if you're doing 2 or 3 sets a week that are each, 3 to 5 hours, it's just that you'd be spending, so much time building the playlist out for each one. And also, if you kind of freestyle it, you can play at the same place every week and have a completely different set week to week. So it doesn't get boring for people who show up every week.
Right. All right. So again, keeping that fluidity and that organic flow is, in your opinion, is more beneficial than just staying strictly structured and just going with the routine and statistics of that.
Yeah. It depends on what you're doing. Again, the 1 hour sets, I'm, pretty strictly prepared for, and there's not much room for change. But also, you're typically not going and doing a big open format set for an hour. It's typically, very specific.
Yeah.
A lot of times around here, it's, it's going to be that EDM focused stuff. So really no top 40, no commercial music. But
you better know your stuff and know it well and have it ready.
Yeah, exactly. And that way you can do cooler transitions and you can do more technically impressive stuff. And
is something that I was going to go into a little bit personally, going off script here, off-roading. When you have a pre-scripted playlist out like that, does that help you open up the creative, like your transitions and your FX and, all the glitter layer? That really gives you more room to shine as a DJ instead of just being, like just your run of the mill. Oh, I can push a button and change a track.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. And cause you always want to practice your more complex stuff beforehand. You want to make sure you can do it under pressure and really, really well because you're doing it live.
Right.
But I still find that 95% of the time, you just want to do very basic transitions that are not really that noticeable because people are just wanting to constantly groove. And I think a lot of times, you see on social media, the really exciting, cool transitions, but they tend to actually be more obstructive to the groove of the room and the vibe of the room. And I think that's king more so than being a technically really, really skilled DJ, because your goal is to get people to dance and have fun.
So that would be more of like a specialty gig, like for the hardcore EDM people who are going to actually pay attention and respect it and acknowledge it for what you're doing versus like why aren't you going with what are you doing?
Yeah, well, even in those rooms, I think that just basic transitions is going to be your best option. If you had to choose between doing only, beat matching, mixing in key, and then EQing, and then switching to the next track, I think, versus really unique transitions, I would do only the basic ones because people just want the groove to constantly be there so they could just move and have a good time. And you also have to be careful, I think, because if you do the unique transitions, then they tend to, sometimes you can overdo them, and you have to be careful with just kind of putting them in for a little bit of spice, just in the correct moments as well, when it's actually versus using them a lot and for too long.
Right. No, I can definitely get that. You know, you don't want your kick overriding the bass when you're doing rhythm, you know, vice versa, you know. Yeah, I can get that one and trying to balance that. I guess, so would you feel like those, the specialty transitions and the really, you know, the amped up ones, would that be more for like, festivals, you know, like the festive stuff, not so much regular gigs?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's room for them in any environment, but I think, again, you just have to limit them because they tend to, I think, get too much if you do them more than just a few times in a set. I mean, you could do, I think something, if you're doing open format and you're playing pop music, I think word plays are fine to do a little bit more often, but really crazy stuff like where you're looping a vocal and then you mix it into the drop of an X on it. Like, I mean, it's good every once in a while, but it's
sprinkles.
Yeah,
sprinkles,
exactly. Yeah. And also, honestly, if I was on a big festival stage, I think I would want to keep it as simple as possible because it's very high stakes, high pressure. So I found in the
conservative.
Yeah, I found in the lower stakes.
Sir, we are yin and yang. I would need that balance because we are the exact opposite. We are out there. Yeah, except total opposite of yin and yang. So.
Looking for bold, high-quality merch that hits harder than your next show? At Smoke and Barrel Apparel, we fire up the best in screen printing and promotional gear, crafted for bands, artists, and creators who refuse to blend in. From shirts to banners, from tour drops to custom promo runs, we've got your back with the best prices around. Learn more today at Smokin. That's SMOKINBA.com. Official sponsor of the Underground Nation podcast, supporting the heartbeat of the underground, one print at a time. Contact Ryan Chavez for more information. Smoke in Barrel Apparel, where your brand meets the barrel.
Let's talk money here. Are you currently charging based on your value or based on what you think people will pay?
Yeah, I mean, probably closer to what people will pay. I charge differently depending on the location. So, for example, for 4th of July, I have a gig in New Jersey, so I have to travel for that because I'm based in North Carolina. And my hourly rate there is a lot higher than I would charge for a bar in Chapel Hill, just because, I'm making the top rate for that the bars pay around here. But it's also less compared to if you were to go to Raleigh, for example, or if you were to go to Charlotte. So it just depends on where you're at, the ability of bars to pay. And because you still want to make money.
Well, absolutely. You still want to make money. That's a business mindset on that one. So therefore, would you like keeping a broader, more variety on that one, different towns, different places, instead of saying just strictly local, is that would be a smart business decision financially?
Yeah. I mean, if you have two places that you can play at and one is willing to pay more, it's usually because it's a bigger place, there's more people, it's higher stakes. And so, go for that one, but don't discount the places that are paying less, and don't, especially if you're early on, don't decline a gig because they're paying less than another venue that you've played at. It's still experience and it's still money, and definitely don't go in and treat it as something lesser than anything else just because it's a little bit lower stakes. You still want to show up, be very professional, do your best, and really just try to kill it because people talk, and you want to build a reputation of being someone who's reliable, professional, and really good at the job.
That's right. Again, the why don't you turn the little people away? Because you're a brand. You're still building those connections and networking. Yeah. Word of mouth goes back to social.
Yeah, I would always say, yeah. if you're a DJ that's getting offers to play every weekend and your schedule's booked up, you're doing, 20 gigs in a month or something, then sure, be more selective with where you're playing at. But if you're the vast majority of DJs, then be willing to take the smaller gigs. And, a lot of, I've taken early on, I've taken stuff for free, just to kind of get my foot in the door at a place. And
right. Absolutely. I know how that feeling is.
Yeah. It's not always the right thing to do something for free, but sometimes it makes sense. And I mean, it's led to more opportunities for me. So you have to be strategic about it.
Yes, opportunities, and also I like to look at it sometimes as just being humble and giving back, giving back to the community that helped put me in the place that I'm in now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Yeah, I'll do events. If I don't have something else, I'll do events for, friends and stuff and just try to, I still come in with the same mindset as if I was getting paid. I mean, I'm still going to work really hard to make it as good as possible and try to be as professional as possible. Of
course, we have to. Not everybody likes a total train wreck and shit show all the time. So do you treat DJing like a business or more like a passion that pays when it can?
I think it starts off as a passion. And it starts off as a passion that doesn't pay at all. And you end up spending just so much money to even get started. Like my first that I bought, I was looking at the very basic beginner controller that was a few $100s. And I ended up impulsively buying a DDJ 1000, which was around $1,200.
Good God almighty.
Yeah, so it was a big jump. I think it was, you come back from a night out and it's kind of scrolling on your phone and you probably had one too many drinks and you just make it.
We ain't going to talk about drunk shopping. I am guilty.
Yeah. I've unfortunately done it a few too many times, but you're committed at that point. If you spend the money, you have to. Yeah, you got to justify it in some way. And so, but then as you spend a lot of hours, just practicing by yourself and playing in your bedroom or something, and you start to get more traction with venues and people are hiring you and you build reputation, then you kind of have to start treating it more as a business. And because you're getting hired for a service, so it's important that you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it comes to that point where it's not just a hobby anymore. I've spent thousands of dollars. I've invested not only my time, my money, and my finance, my energy into this. Yeah. Now when is it going to pay off? Now it gets to the point where is this truly benefiting me? Is it making me happy now, or is it more of a job mindset? And that's kind of where the shift is. I feel.
Yeah. And we were talking about the unpaid gigs. I mean, you can't just accept everyone because, you'd be able to find a million opportunities.
No, of course. There's always pro bono.
Selective. And you have to think, is this actually beneficial to my brand? And is this going to lead to more opportunities in the future? Is it just something I'm doing because I have nothing else going on tonight?
Right. And sometimes it's okay to not have anything else going on tonight. Let's just go shoot the shit.
And also scarcity is, saying if you establish yourself as someone who will just do anything for free, then you lower your value and people aren't going to be willing to pay.
I hear that all the time. Everybody wants to come complaining, well, I'm giving this away, but nobody wants it because it's not valued. There's no value to it. If you would put a $5 price tag on it, you would be valued, and you'd be surprised how many people would want to pay $5 to hear what you have to say versus just paying it to just scrolling.
Yeah, no,
value. I've value to it.
I've lost out on opportunities because I've set my price and the place wasn't willing to pay it or the person wasn't willing to pay it. But I think it's a mistake a lot of times to really compromise on what you're charging because, as we said, you tend to lower your value and you establish yourself as someone who's not worth paying that much. And so sometimes you have to turn away stuff in the short term, but I think in the long term, it leads to bigger gains.
Oh, yeah. And this is, again, taking risks, but calculated risks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
of course. If I told you your current pricing or positioning is costing you thousands, would you know where the leak is?
What was that?
Okay, so when you're going in and when you're pricing, just like you were talking about, you've lost positions from not, your value being more. If I called you out on that and said, hey, homie, you're losing thousands or this is costing you thousands, would you be able to sit there and look at a business aspect and be like, okay, well, this is where this right here is where I need to switch up and change? Or do you feel like a lot of business people just may not know exactly where the problem is?
Yeah, I think it's important to always be really aware of everything as much as you can and to always be learning about the whole aspect of whatever business you're in. Because realistically, as a DJ, you're basically an entrepreneur. You're starting your own brand. You're having to learn how to be your own agent. You're having to learn how to do well on social media, be a social media manager. And so, it's important to learn where things are. But I think with, losing money in the short term is sometimes something that can be beneficial and be the very reason that you go on to make money in the long term. So at least that's what I tell myself.
That's what you tell yourself. I'm curious on that one. That's actually, that's intriguing, thought and perceptive there. So it goes to kind of like, okay, well, you're taking a risk and this one might slap you in the face or bite you in the ass, but it's a learning experience for later on down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, all of life is, I've made so many mistakes throughout my life, and, they're always try to always get some value from them. I also think it's helpful, to be a little bit delusional, because it's such a hard industry to break into and to do well in.
Y'all are hearing it. Be delusional. Stop taking your meds. No, please don't stop. Don't.
Yeah. No. It's helpful to just have that unrelenting persistence and mindset that, you're the one that's going to make it. I think is really important. Persistence and patience are the two things that I have found have been the most helpful.
Persistence and patience. That really, do you have to? You really do. A lot of people give up too easy.
Yeah.
What can one little stick pack do? Better question, what can't it do? You see, this isn't an ordinary stick pack. This is Make Fit, a bioactive precision peptide that supports strength building, endurance, and specialized support for each of your 650 muscles. In the end, this little stick pack is your way of finding more confidence, resilience, and discipline. Small packet, big results. Make Fit now available in caffeine-free.
So where do you see yourself going next? Staying raw and underground, or building a bigger brand around what you do?
Hopefully build a bigger brand. I'm trying to work on social media a lot more. And I think I was recently talking to a promoter in Miami, and we were just chatting, and one of the things he said was he likes to be able to just go on social media, the person's social media, and scroll through and just be entertained for 5 or 10 minutes. And I think that's a new skill that I have to learn. And so I'm working on that and just expanding to different areas beyond just playing live events. Like I've started Twitch streaming most Fridays. Not this Friday, unfortunately. I have something at 6, but I usually do 5 to 6 p.m. Different genres of music, but there's usually some sort of theme. Just trying to dip my toes in a lot of different things to see what can work and what is not going to work.
Of course. I have noticed a lot of producers, DJs, mixers, masters, engineers, sound designers, a lot of y'all techie people like the twitchy. Y'all like the game. Yeah, I've noticed this. I'm seeing a pattern here.
Yeah. Well, it's, the whole thing is, playing live and trying to entertain people, and Twitch gives you a good platform to do that. And you can, even if it's just for an hour, you can try to, entertain a few people and do something that you really enjoy doing.
Not just for gaming, people. Twitch is also for performing.
Yes, I've still found it. It's difficult. I don't really know what to do because I'm on camera when I'm streaming. I still have no idea what I'm supposed to do. In terms of my reactions or stuff, I kind of just do a little bit of dancing every once in a while, but
it's okay. Not everybody is ready to be a star on the camera. We need the people behind the scenes pushing buttons, because I'm going to tell you right now, without those people behind me pulling the strings, we'd be a loose cannon.
Yeah, it's just such a different scene because you don't have a big crowd in front of you, and so it's a lot of times too, if you produce, and it's a very nerdy thing to do. You sit on your laptop and you mess around with like a synthesizer for who knows how long, just trying to create this one sound that you have in your head. And so you're just in that environment. And so you almost are very introverted, but then you also have this other side of you where you have to go out and perform in front of people and be in this very social environment where you have to be extroverted. And so there's a little bit of a switch that you have to do. And I guess on Twitch, it's a little bit harder to flip that sometimes.
Oh, see, I would feel that would be a little bit more easier, more comfortable, because for me, I feel you on that one. I don't like big crowds, big, on the scene. I get really big stage fright, social anxiety, like a mofo. But behind a camera, in my own environment, my own area, I'm a rock star. I don't have that anxiety. I don't have that pressure per se. I don't have 1,000 people that I know that are staring at me with their eyeballs, making me uncomfortable. Like I know in my brain, okay, yeah, I got 5 million people out here that can see me right now. I'm not looking at all you 5 million people right now.
Yeah. I've been lucky. I've always found, that I'm pretty comfortable up on even, just throughout schooling and stuff, doing presentations. And then as I've gone into that environment, it's been not too bad with, there's always a few nerves, especially for the shorter sprint sets where people tend to be more focused on the music and the DJ, but usually 1 or 2 beers beforehand always helps calm things down. So.
I'm not the only one on that one. Thank you. Y'all heard it. Okay. Don't judge me. Sometimes my nerves need a little lubrication.
It helps you get in the mindset of the people, and I think it's a good thing. I will say though, if you're gonna drink it all while you DJ, make sure you've practiced a good bit while drinking, just so you're not doing that for the first time live. Because I practiced before I did that, but it's important because it's a different skill set, I think. Playing well.
Yeah, of course. We're going to be busting out some 80s and 90s. Then here comes Baby Shark out of nowhere.
Yeah. Dan, don't get too creative if you've had a lot to drink. It'll sound good to you in the moment, but I think when you listen back to the recording, you'll hit yourself a little bit.
Hindsight, man. Hindsight. So if you could design your perfect set, your dream crowd, your dream energy, what does that look like?
So I'm a big fan of Hardwell, and every year when he releases his ultra sets, I listen to them so many times, and the energy in those sets is just unbelievable. And it's not a genre of music that I necessarily listen to a bunch outside of those moments, but it's just like the heart pounding adrenaline excitement for just an hour straight. And I don't know, I would love to be up there and in front of a crowd like that and getting to play music like that, because it's just so thrilling. And I don't think there's anything that can really match something like that. It's crazy how music can make you feel certain things. It's unbelievable how much it kind of penetrates your emotions, but it's a really special thing.
It really is. It's an art form. It truly is an art form. Sound, visual, feeling, spiritual, vibrations, all of it truly, genuinely is art. And art comes from, expressions of the artist without expressions of what? The emotion.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that is really a driving force that I feel for any artist, whether you are a sculptor, a painter, a DJ, or Bob Ross, that those emotional impacts, I feel, is what truly drives the product that's being created here, and the feeling.
I mean, you could just, if anyone who's DJ'd, you can just tell how much it drives the emotion of the room. And if you play one thing and then switch side, it just changes everything, and the whole night and is just driven by the stuff that you're putting out. And
that's powerful. It really is. That is empowering to be able to control the masses like that with a push of the button, a flick of a switch, turn of a knob. That's great. I could truly understand, that mindset and that momentum where you're going with that. I truly do. There's one last, we're going to have time for one last question here. Wrap this up. There's DJs out there right now, nervous, second guessing themselves, scared to step into their moment. If you could give them one piece of real advice, something from your own experience, what would you tell them?
Take the leap. Have faith in yourself. And I think with anything in life, if it's worth achieving, then it's going to be really difficult and scary to do. But also think about yourself in 20 years from now. What's more likely for you to regret, whether you trying and failing and then moving on with your life and just doing what you were already going to do, or you not giving it a shot in trying something that you really love to do and could really, maybe you make it. I mean, you have to have that hope to, maybe this could be the thing that I do with my life. And in 20 years time, even if you fail, it's just not going to be a big deal. It's just going to be a cool thing that you did. And so there's just not much of an excuse to not do it. I mean, you got to take risks in life. It's really important, and don't worry too much about, believe in yourself, right? Believe in yourself delusionally, but also do the work to justify it at least a little bit, and then, just hustle and give it a shot.
Little engine that could.
Yeah. If you really hustle and you really work hard, you're already better than 95% of DJs or producers, because most people they aren't really willing to work hard and maintain the consistency that it takes.
Diligence, perseverance.
Yeah.
Oh, God, absolutely, man. Well, y'all heard it. You felt that, right? That wasn't just music talk. That wasn't just a business adventure here. This was instinct, risk, and raw expression. Huge shout out to DJ Juris for stepping into the fire with us tonight. If you're rocking with what you heard, don't just sit there. Go show some love. Follow, like, and subscribe to DJ Juris on all social and streaming platforms, including the Twitch over there. Y'all heard it. Stay connected and watch the evolution unhappen in real time. And if you're hungry for more stories, more energy, more voices breaking through the noise, and more chaos, head over to underground-nation.com and discover more incredible DJs making waves underneath the surface. And listen closely. If you are a DJ, an artist, or creator with something to say, don't wait. Submit your information right now to ugnpodcast@gmail.com. This is Underground Nation, and we're always watching, always listening for the next one to rise. I'm Feral Minx, and until next time, stay feral.
And just like that, the party may be slowing down, but the energy, that stays with you. Massive shout out to DJ Juris for pulling up on Underground Nation and giving us an inside look at the mind of a DJ who thrives in pure unpredictability. No playlists, no safety nets, just instinct, creativity, and the ability to turn complete strangers into one massive moving crowd. That takes real talent. Thank you, DJ Juris, for hanging out with us and bringing your energy to the Underground Nation stage. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to DJ Juris on all social and streaming platforms so you can stay tapped into every future set, event, and unforgettable moment they create. And if you're hungry for more incredible DJs, artists, creators, and underground talent making serious waves, visit underground-nation.com right now and discover the voices shaking up the culture from underneath the surface. And listen closely. If you're a DJ, an event planner, a promoter, or someone with an incredible story about your journey through music, nightlife, or entertainment, we want to hear from you. Submit your information now to ugnpodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, we don't chase the spotlight. We build our own stage in the underground. This is Underground Nation, where real talent rises and legends refuse to stay hidden.